more blue sky. Although right now, if I had to do my solo demonstration, I could do it quite well right at this time. But we've got a few other folks precede us, and hopefully the skies that we have right now continue to clear out, and we'll be able to put on a good show with the RV-4. The reason I put the RV-4 out here as a demo flight is the airplane was designed back in in the 70s by Mr. Richardson Grundig. It's an all aluminum monocoque construction aircraft, designed originally with 150 to 160 horsepower engine with a fixed pitch prop. The original configuration was very light. The airplane itself, before you put paint on it, with the engine and everything, was about 900 pounds. So that's about 200 pounds heavier than my Harley Davidson, and my Harley does not have a 150 or 160 horse engine on it, and it goes about 3 times as slow. So the Vans airplane is a wonderful airplane. There are over 8,000 of them right now that are flying. They went from the single-seater, which was called the RV-3, to the tandem-seater, which is called the RV-4. The reason for that is the RV-3 was such a popular airplane with sport pilots that the ladies wanted to go along. And so the guys said, okay, let's make this thing a little longer, and we can take our girls and our women with us and go fly and have a great time. So I built my airplane, started in 1986. My original test flight was another airplane in Idaho. That was the first one to be built in Idaho. That was 1985. And as soon as I landed flying my buddy's airplane, I went to the phone and ordered my kit. So I started my airplane in 1986, and I completed it in 1989, pretty bare bones, basic VFR airplane. So I fly it mostly during the daytime, obviously, and in clear skies, about the same requirements as I have for riding my motorcycle. Um, the RV-4, at that time when I completed my airplane, one of the attractive things about it was you could build it fairly low cost. So with the exception of the engine, which at that time was $4,000, and a professional paint job, which was about $2,500, I ended up only having $23,500 in that airplane. It's been with me now for 25 years, and there's never been a single flight where I don't come back with a great big, what we call RV grin on my face. So it's been a real pleasure to fly this airplane. I use it for backcountry flying up in Idaho and Montana. We've done some backcountry camping with it. I do acrobatics with it. I do formation flying with it. And one of my favorites is their combat maneuvers, 1v1 or 1v5, depending on what the other five are. It's a very handy airplane. So anybody that wants to build an airplane out there, the RV kits today are almost like an erector set. They're well constructed. They're still less expensive than a factory-built airplane, and normally have much better performance. And that's why there's so many airplanes with the Vans name flying around the world. They're all over in Europe, Australia, South America. They're everywhere. So it's a wonderful airplane, and I really appreciate flying it. And I appreciate letting me be able to show you guys what it can do. Thank you.
Well, we're not going to let you go yet because I got some questions for you here. First of all, I know that you flew that helicopter in Vietnam and you got the nickname Cobra for that. But in the meantime, I understand you spent most of your career, other than when you play around with the RV-4, flying the Big Iron. And I believe, are you retired now as a captain?
Yeah, I'm a retired airline captain. Retired before I wanted to retire back in '07. And after I was forced to retire due to an FAA regulation, I went overseas and flew over there for another carrier, flying 737-300. That was basically the open water flying from Fiji. So I got to wear a grass skirt. Actually, no. We had a regular uniform over there, but some folks were wearing grass skirts, and so it was a fun 9 months. But I realized then that maybe it was time to hang it up and come home and fly my little airplane, and I enjoyed that very much.
So you're going to fly your little airplane, as you say today, but part of this is you've got a bunch of maneuvers, and I want you to kind of describe some of the things that I know what you're going to do up there, and I might even be able to tell the group as you're performing them. But you got a couple of maneuvers in here that I'm going to describe, but I want you to tell me a little bit about what they are. and one of them is called the Humpty Bump. Now, tell me what happens and when you fly that Humpty Bump, and what importance does that have in the routine that you're flying?
Well, the Humpty Bump is actually allowing me to reverse the course of my flight. So the original beginning of the routine is I do descending rolls. I start around 1200 ATL, which is about 1200 feet above ground level. I do maybe 2 or 3 descending rolls to get down to my altitude. I go ahead and increase my speed. Because we have a high density altitude here and we're flying off of a field that's almost 7,000 feet high, my engine doesn't perform as well as it would at sea level, obviously, and everybody that runs up here probably knows the difference between running here and at sea level, so the same concept applies to the engine horsepower. So I need a lot of room to get my speed up, and then I climb. I go into a two-turn spin. Sometimes it turns into three-turn spin, and then I come reverse back downwind, and I do this loop. And then from that is the fourth maneuver, which is called the Humpty Bump. Basically, because I don't have an inverted oil system and fuel system, I have to cheat on that maneuver a little bit. Normally, a Humpty Bump is flown at a 90-degree angle straight up. You're going vertical until you get to a certain airspeed, and then you pull back. It's a positive Humpty Bump. Pull back on the stick, maintain a positive G, and come right back down again. Vertically, right straight at the ground. In my case, I do a half roll so I can get orientated back on the runway. And then I get back down to my lower altitude and go ahead and continue to increase my speed and do another loop. And then, of course, then after that, we do a half reverse Cuban 8, which is the opposite of a normal Cuban 8. And that's, okay, a Cuban 8 basically is a figure 8. If you look at it from profile view, you slide straight away, and then you do a looping maneuver initially. At the top of that loop, you continue. Technically, you're supposed to continue on the 45-degree down line because I don't have inverted fuel and all. My engine would quit. So I have to cheat on that as well a little bit, and I go ahead and roll right side up again, continue my 45-degree down line, and then do the same thing on the other side of the maneuver. Basically, do another three-quarter loop, come back around the top, and when you look at it with the smoke on, you can usually see a figure 8 inscribed in the sky. That smoke really enhances our aerobatic demonstration flying. In competition flying, you don't use smoke. You'll breathe it much more stringently than what you do for this kind of demonstration flying. And again, the reason I like to do this type of maneuvers on this airplane just to show what a fairly low-cost airplane is capable of doing. And for those of you that are well committee fighter pilots, why this is the perfect airplane to do that with, and it's still within your budget. I think nowadays a pickup truck costs what, $45,000. I think you can still build an RV-4 for about the same amount. It's a little bit more work maybe than buying a pickup truck, but it sure is a lot more fun.
You know, I don't know if I want to try to build a pickup truck, but in any case, well, Hans, we're looking forward to the performance today, as I say, and as you're flying, you know, I'll be describing some of those maneuvers, and I'll be talking about your aircraft. It's really an exciting experience, and of course, it's great for you to be part of this, along with the rest of your buddies from the Rocky Mountain Renegades. All of these pilots for the Rocky Mountain Renegades have military flight experience. Almost everybody has been a commercial airline pilot, or continues to be, and every one of these aircraft that these guys are flying, they built themselves. So it's a great organization. It's great to have you here again this year, and we're looking forward to the big show coming up later on this morning.
Well, we thank everybody for showing up here today. I know the weather initially didn't look real bright, but it looks like it's getting better, and we're hoping for clear skies and good flying. We'll talk to you folks later on. Thank you.
All right, and the one thing I would always say to my fellow pilots, except I can't say it to Hans and I can't say it to most of our aerobatic pilots, when we say keep the greasy side down, because these aircraft fly inverted. And the one thing that Hans mentioned is that most of these aerobatic aircraft can fly inverted, and they have carburetor fuel systems and oil systems that allow that. But, you know, if you're trying to drive your car upside down, you discover it wouldn't run for very long before all of the fuel would run out of the carburetor. But with an aerobatic airplane, This inverted fuel system is very important. Of course, most of our general aviation aircraft that do not do aerobatics are not equipped that way, so we try to stay upright as long as we can. And coming along now, of course, is our AirMed helicopter. They're going to be put up here on the ramp